Hello, today I will present to you a story named A Groom Like Shark by Ferdinand Verma. So, the story tells us about two best friends named Paru and Manju who will engage in a marriage. They both love Shahrukh Khan, so they want their groom look like Shahrukh Khan and have his distinctive features like wearing jeans and having a clean chin. Few days later, they met with their grooms, and Manny was introduced, but they got turned away by the girls. They can only look at each other desperately. Soon, Manju got engaged first with a guy named Raunaklal, who is famous by his father's wealth and notorious because of his drunken stupor. At first, his parents denied the wedding because of his notoriety. But soon, knowing that Manju gave Raunaklal Toriawalamati a bribe of 51 ladus and the Muharat only lasted a month away, they agreed and the wedding started. Soon, Manju got engaged first, earlier than Paru. Paru and her family were desperate. Paru's family doubled their efforts to search the perfect groom for Paru, and Paro can only wait and see how the things will go on. While waiting, Paro sends a letter to Manju. In the letter, she says that she mostly turned down by the grooms because the mismatched horoscope, the high demand, and the fact that she have gray eyes. Days later, the brothers came back and says that they can fix the Paro's marriage. They say that they found the suitable groom for Paro, and after some discussion with Paro's and the groom's family, they agreed to do the wedding after the boy returned from the military and take a break from his duty. In desperation, Paro sent a letter again to Manju. In the letter, she says that maybe Manju can overlook the genes, and surprisingly, she believes that the groom maybe still have facial hair because Shahrukh Khan shaved his beard in after he returned from his duty in the military. Paro really miss Manju because she the only one who understands how the things going on and what about her feelings. Paro's family must done the wedding in the next 10 days, or else they must wait the groom to come back from his duty. So they rush and prepare the wedding while also keeping the kids from the sweets away. The moment of the wedding arrived. Paro was prepared and the groom was closing in. The wedding ceremony was done as it was, and Paro is escorted to Amanda. Paro was seated on the bed facing the door. Soon, the groom came in, and he walks to the nearby table to release his watch garland and customary kirpan. And then he tells Paro, "You know why I accept the marriage even though I never met you, and so as you." Then he walks to Paro and sit on the edge of the bed. My sister already told me about you, and I want to marry someone who has gray eyes like Aishwarya Rai, he said to Paro. And then she looked up. That's the story of a groom and child. There are some social issues on the story. One of them is the lack of woman agency. In the line, our views won't ever be heard, let alone be considered. It's it's the perfect example that women can pick their own grooms or even their own choice. They must follow their family
and or their brother's suggestion. They must follow the unspoken rules or law in their culture or society. Next is the high demand of expectation. It is the line when Panju gives tea to Raunaklal and look down while while meeting her groom, looks up. My sources, Miss Dewianti and the line shows us is that when Paro doesn't accept, the marriage turns gray and turns very bad. Like when we read in the story, we see that Manju never sent a letter again to Paro after she married. And while Paro accepting and giving in on her wedding, makes her get someone who understands her and doesn't care about her flaws. This is right perfect example that if we in the dire situation when we can choose our own soulmate, maybe we can just accept them and doesn't get a more significant loss than we were.
These two social issues will often lead to miserable events. The lack of woman agency sometimes led to domestic violence because the woman must must be obedient to the man, and the man often misuse this and often vent their anger to his wife. The high demand of the high demand of expectation often led to divorce because the man and the woman doesn't accept each other. They they doesn't respect each other, and because of that they will sometimes fight at each other and eventually break up. So how we can save their life, how we can fix Paros and Manju's marriage? From my mother's suggestion is to search a prominent figure in there. Paro and Manju and their parents can go to the prominent figure, and the prominent figure will tell their parents that Paro and Manju deserve their agency, deserve their choice. And sometimes their parents will agree. Some parents will agree. But if they don't agree, I have a story from my father, from my deceased father. The story tells that my father my father can't marry my mother in that time after he proposed to my mother and says that to my grandmother. My grandmother said, no, you can't marry her because my mother comes from a wealthy family, from poor family. Then my father doesn't fight it. My father doesn't accept it. Instead, my father says this: okay, I will agree. I will not marry her. But mother, I will never marry anyone again instead of her. Then my grandmother, surprised and shocked. He can he can see his own children to not marry and doesn't have children, and then his lineage will go down. So his grandmother accepted. It's just my father used a technique that doesn't fight or doesn't refuse. He willingly says that, and after some days, my father and my mother married. Look, it's not about we fight for our love, but to fighting with your love, to try to bravely search for a way to get for our loved ones. I guess that's for today. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.